Hey everyone, if you watched my SoundPEATS ranked video, the Mini got the #1 spot for their pure value for money. They just sound so good for the price that they're at. So now SoundPEATS is coming at you with the Mini HS. You're getting updated Bluetooth app support, a game mode, high-res audio, and multi-point connection at a retail price of $39 US. Now these buds, like the Mini, don't have noise cancelling, so they're more in line with their most recent release, the Engine 4, retailing at $59. So today you're going to be getting all the details you need, all the comparisons, because as usual here, we're going in depth. Now, starting with the color options, you have your classic SoundPEATS black, a beigey yellow, and a purpley light blue vibe. And these have the exact same design as the original Mini, one of the smallest earbuds I've ever tested, so they should fit any ear size completely fine. The comfort is great, although they have the slightest amount of suction, but they're still a bud I can wear for multiple hours with no issues. They're staying great when weight training. They barely even budge out. If I'm clenching my jaw through those hard sets or laughing a lot, laughter is a good test to see if the earbuds will pop out of your ears. They do budge out a tiny bit, but there's no way they're going to fall out. In my running tests, they work quite well. They have a slight amount of bodyboard noise, and that's due to the slight suction they have. So I could hear a bit of my own breathing and the footsteps I made on the ground, but it wasn't too bad. And if you like using your earbuds when training, these have an IPX sweat and water resistant rating. A massive improvement here though is with the battery life, because now you're getting 8 hours from the earbuds, 36 hours in total. Where on the original Mini, you got 5 hours from the buds, 20 hours in total. And in my test on an iPhone 12 Pro at 60% volume, here's what I got. You still don't get fast charge, and that's with any SoundPEATS earbud. Also, no wireless charging at the price, completely fine. But considering the case and the buds themselves are so compact, some very impressive numbers here. The case is only slightly larger and thicker than the Mini. It's still just as thin as the AirPods 3 case here for a bit of reference, and that's one of the thinnest cases out there in the true wireless market. You also get one colored LED on the front of the case, so you know when to charge your case up. Now with the controls here, as usual for SoundPEATS, the sensitivity is spot on. You can control everything, play, pause, skipping tracks forward and back, voice assisted, volume up and down, and game mode, all on the earbuds. You don't get any detection, also no app customization, despite being able to turn the touch controls off. But I really feel like it's time SoundPEATS added some control customization. Now connectivity here, you're getting Bluetooth 5.3, SBC, AAC, and the high-res LDAC codec, which is why they give it the HS name. That's pretty much the biggest benefit you get with Bluetooth 5.3 versus 5.2, which was on the original Mini. They have more efficiency, which explains the longer battery life. Now the LDAC high-res audio codec, this is going to give you a slight improvement in sound quality, a couple of percent if you don't use high-quality streaming services. If you do use high-quality streaming, Apple Music, Tidal, that increases by another couple of percent. It's not a huge difference, and the battery life will drain about 20 to 30% more. Now, this is the second SoundPEATS earbud to have multi-point connection. The Engine 4 were the first, and it's the exact same here. I have mine connected to my MacBook M1 and iPhone 12 Pro. You just need to pause playback on one device before you resume it on the other device, and it only takes about 3 seconds to switch over, and it's pretty easy to connect a new device. You can just disconnect your Bluetooth from one device and then connect the other one, reconnect the old device. You can also just hold down on the touch surface for about 3 to 5 seconds, and that'll turn the pairing mode on. Single bud use is still here as well, so you can use one earbud while you leave the other in the case, and it does work in mono mode. So when you are using just one earbud, you hear the left and right audio channel coming out of the one earbud. Latency when watching videos is completely fine. These also have a low latency gaming mode. Here are the results I got in my test on both iOS and Android. So you can see there, compared to the Mini, the latency is much lower. Still, 400 milliseconds is fine for casual games. You do want to get closer to 200 milliseconds if you're into faster reaction games like shooters. Now the Mini had pretty decent call quality, so I'm going to compare them to the Mini, but also the SoundPEATS Capsule 3 Pro. They have their best call quality, so here are the samples. Alright, so starting the test here with my iPhone 12 Pro microphone, so you get an idea of the noise going on around me. Alright, so here's the call quality of the SoundPEATS Mini. Alright, here is the call quality of the SoundPEATS Engine 4. Alright, so here is the call quality of the SoundPEATS Capsule 3 Pro. Alright, so here is the call quality of the SoundPEATS Mini HS. Testing, 1, 2, and 3. Alright, before we talk about what's most important, sound quality, if you're enjoying the video, please chuck a like down there. It really does help the video and the channel out. Now, starting with volume here, these buds definitely go loud enough, but nowhere near as loud as the original Mini. The original Mini have about 3 extra clicks on volume over the Mini HS. But even then, on the HS, those last 2 clicks of volume, that's in hearing loss territory, but it's still nice to have a little bit more than you need in case you're listening to music that's a little bit lower or your hearing isn't as good. Keep in mind though, these don't really sound good at those loud volumes on about the last 4 clicks. It just sounds a little bit harsh, a little bit rough, but these are a cheap earbud. Low volume listening is also not great. Now, I'm not expecting a bud at this price to have advanced DSP, which is what you'll see on pairs like the Bose Quiet Comfort 2 and AirPods Pro 2. So at the lower volume on those buds, bass and treble is increased because naturally we hear less at the low volumes. So just something to keep in mind. Now, onto the sound itself, things get a little bit interesting here. Now, the original Mini were pushing out sound quality like 3 times above the price that they were at. Now the Mini HS, they still sound great. It's not the exact same tuning as the Mini. In ways, they're better. In other ways, they're worse. Starting with what's worse, and that's with the bass response. Because the Mini were not bass cannons by any means, but they had a subtle bass boosting, clean mid bass, and a little bit of deep sub bass rumble. The HS is lacking a bit when it comes to sub bass, is about 10% less than the Mini. The treble has also been dialed back a tiny bit. It doesn't have as much detail or sparkle as the original Mini. Now you can probably guess when you take something away, you normally add something else. So the mids on the Mini HS have been boosted a little bit. So vocals and instrumentation are slightly more forward. I honestly had no complaints with the mid-range on the original Mini. I personally prefer that extra sparkle in the treble and deep sub bass that the original Mini had over boosted mids. An issue with the original Mini though was the soundstage was pretty closed in. The HS has improved this a little bit. It's a bit more of an open sound, but definitely not the most open soundstage. So when you combine all these differences, I wouldn't really say the HS is worse, but it's definitely not better than the Mini. But what you can do now on the Mini HS, what you couldn't do on the Mini, is customize the sound in the SoundPEATS app with the EQ. You can also use the adaptive EQ. You run through a quick hearing test, but I've tried this countless times and it just makes the earbuds sound super weird. It might work for you though. Now the SoundPEATS EQ only really allows you to tweak the buds ever so slightly. The SoundPEATS app, like I said, still needs a lot of work. And I have tested these on the iOS app. When you do use the EQ, the volume is reduced by about 15%. And since these buds aren't super loud, that 15% makes a pretty big difference. I noticed I had to crank the earbuds closer to 100% if I wanted to get some loud listening going. Now, I think this can be fixed with firmware, so I will chuck a comment down below if this is updated. But now to explain the sound and the features a bit further, let's run through some comparisons. Compared to all of SoundPEATS noise cancelling earbuds, the Life, Mini Pro HS, Capsule 3 Pro, and Air 3 Pro, the Mini HS sound better than all of them easily, except for the Opera 3 and 5. They do sound slightly better. That is if they're ever available. Now, compared to the H2 and H1, these aren't as widely available anymore, but both do sound better than the Mini HS, fuller bass being the biggest difference. The most important comparison is going to be with the Engine 4. They do cost $20 more, but the features are almost identical. Multi-point, LDAC game modes, slightly longer battery life. The buds are much bigger, so it may not work with smaller ears as well, but for me, still super comfortable. The biggest difference is going to be with the sound. The Engine 4 use dual coaxial drivers, so they sound much better. Soundstage is more open, bass is much fuller and richer when it comes to both sub bass and mid bass. Nicer mid-range, nicer treble. The volume is similar, but the Engine 4 do sound much better at those higher volumes. Everything is better basically. It really comes down to if that extra $20 is worth it for you. Still, for under $40, you're getting tons of features here, solid sound quality. These buds are pretty hard to fault. But if you want more info on the Engine 4, be sure to check out this video right here. In the meantime, stay picky. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.